Hello, everybody, and welcome to Watkins Glen International Speedway here for the Sweet Tea Gang Truck Series here. Hello, my name is Christian Delgado, your producer and main commentator for tonight's race, and tonight we also have Gavin Booth up in the booth. Gavin Austin in the booth. Gavin, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Christian. I'm glad to be here. It's a pleasure working with you every Tuesday for this amazing league, and I just can't wait for tonight.
Yeah, definitely a lot of exciting racing that should be going on here. Watkins Glen, one of the more exciting tracks here on the truck schedule here, and I can't wait to see what these drivers can do here right now. Currently, James McRae, your fastest in practice here, with William McKellar, P2 in practice here. So two of your front runners up here towards the front of practice here, with just and with 7 minutes left here.
Yeah, 7 minutes left in practice. Watkins Glen, one of the most common road racing tracks you really see in NASCAR. It's one of the more popular road racing tracks, I should say, in NASCAR. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting track in New York, and the trucks definitely here handle really good, and it's really fun to watch. So I think tonight's going to be a really good race.
Yeah, I think with how different the trucks are going to drive here. Remember, this is our first truck series race here for the um truck series here, and it's definitely going to show who's has the different skill sets here for road. Obviously, they're it takes a completely different set of skills to conquer these road courses. That's why you see like the SVGs and the Marcus Ambrose and those types of people come in here and be so dominant here in NASCAR. And it's definitely gonna be see who actually has the skills to come out here and potentially dominate here in New York.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting. 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in practice. A lot of drivers on pit road. A lot of drivers still out on track. You see the seven now. He wrecked out of turn one. And now he's going back out to try to set some more laps. But like we said, fastest on the track right now. He set a flyer of a lap of 1:12.795. Fastest lap um, of the night so far. So I think he's going to be the one to watch most definitely in that number seven Toyota machine. So you see him going onto the backstretch, getting ready to go into the bus stop. The bus stop is very challenging, yet pretty fun if you're a driver. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think we might see a little bit of carnage in that corner there today.
Yeah, I mean, all these corners have different, and that different variations of them, and that's what I love about Watkins Glen. The track is so different throughout the whole way. As we're gonna go with McRae here going in, and this left-hander here, every corner here is different and unique, and you have to really drive it differently, and it really shows, who can, be the best driver here. There's a lot of tracks like Coda, which is super technical, and there's a lot of braking zones and stuff like that. There's tracks like Sonoma, where it's all kind of flowy, and it's just about keeping momentum up. But with Watkins Glen, you have the hard braking zone down in the one and go and down in the one, down into that left-hander, and then you have the S's here. Then you have that another hard braking zone going down into the bus stop. So very unique, and a very when it comes to the way you have to drive it, just very unique compared to a lot of other tracks that the NASCAR schedule goes to.
Very, very unique, and definitely is this racetrack. Once again, you see the seven going into the bus stop. You really have to hit every corner Pacific way to be fast. It's very challenging. If you hit a single corner wrong, you lose 2 5 tenths. It's super challenging, and one mistake can really ruin your shot at winning this race. Um, Lane Phillips jumps up to second now with 1:13.095 ahead of William McKellar. So Lane Phillips is definitely going to be fast, a fast truck in this race. It's going to be very interesting with 4 minutes left in practice, qualifying, getting ready to start. But like we just saw right there, coming onto the front stretch, the seven got really, really loose. So that right there is going to scrub off a lot of time. As you see him come out at turn one. Going into the S's. You know, the S's are a really cool part of the track. You know, you see that right and left corner, and then you know you take another right onto the backstretch, getting ready for the bus stop. S's, you can see some wrecks there too. Very challenging if you go in there two, possibly even three wide. If you have the right drivers and can handle it. Now we're watching William McKellar in the 75 machine, that Vault Tech Chrome Blue Chevy. See him coming out the final corner onto the front stretch now. No, he's a good driver. Won the All-Star race earlier this year. Very talented race car driver. I definitely think he can be one of the faster trucks tonight, as he's currently sitting third. Very, very interesting though. See him, nice turn one. Has a slower car in front of him though. See going through the S's, carrying a lot of speed. See him going into the bus stop. See the 28 though, the slow car in front of him. You know, if you get a single slow car in front of you, it's definitely challenging. That's 28 machine of Sam Colas, who kind of jumps to the side, lets him by, no problem. William McKellar, huge slide though. Oh, and he loses it. Grabs the tire barrier and hard into the concrete barrier. So we were talking about how challenging this track can really be. Just a little mistake, like I was talking about, but you don't want that to happen in that race because that's a pretty major mistake that you can make where your truck just gets very, very loose if you carry too much speed on exit. Definitely in these high horsepower trucks, but definitely, very interesting. So we are wrapping up practice now. Minute and 50 left. Still James McRae on the top of the board, fastest truck on the track. Most of the trucks are lined up in pit road, but here's Lane Phillips in the sixth. You know, he's the second fastest truck on the track right now. You see him coming to the start finish line, trying to get a little bit faster. We'll have one more shot at getting a faster lap here with a minute and 24 seconds left in in practice. Coming out of turn one, very, very good corner. Going into the S's now. Like I said, you have to hit every corner right to carry as much speed as you can. And Lane Phillips, definitely one of the drivers to be able to do that tonight, which I think we will see. Getting ready to go into the bus stop now on the back stretch. Gotta get as close as you can to that inside wall, that blue wall, but you don't want to hit it. Good job on the S's. Could have been, I think, a little bit closer to the grass, but it was overall great corner. See Sam Colas in front of him just a little bit. I don't think he'll get to him just in time. But coming into the final couple last corners, Lane Phillips in the number 6 Ford machine trying to get a little bit faster to possibly get the fastest lap in practice. Looks like he's on a good lap, but it's going to be close going onto the front stretch. Lane Phillips crossing the line. We're going to see if he goes up at all. He does, goes up to a 1:13.055, still second place, but did get a better lap. So practice now coming to an end, qualifying, getting ready to start. So we're going to see the trucks start lining up. This is where I think we're going to see some drivers make some mistakes because, you know, like I said, you got to hit every corner perfectly to be fast. And I think, you know, those drivers get that stuck in their head and they're like, oh, I got to hit this corner perfectly. But then once they get up to the corner, they make a mistake. And then that kind of sets them off guard a little bit. And, you know, they can kind of mess up throughout their lap just a tiny bit.
Now we are going to take a quick break here. We're going to try to switch servers. We do know that the bit rate and stuff is not looking good, so we are going to try to switch over to another server real quick, and we'll be right back here. But we'll try to keep you updated radio style on what's going on for the race here. But right now, currently, drivers are getting ready to come out and start their qualifying laps.
So I will keep you guys updated with how qualifying is going. So a lot of trucks though on track. Includes William McKellar and Lane Phillips, some of our fastest trucks out there. William McKellar's kind of taking it a little bit slow. Some people call him cheese on iRacing. Take it a little bit slow to keep your tires nice and cool. Lane Phillips, though, now entering the bus stop. Not on his lap, on his out lap. Lane Phillips, like I said, could be one of the faster drivers we see tonight. Definitely going to be interesting, though. So Lane Phillips, I will keep you guys updated on him right now in that 6 Ford machine, getting ready to start his lap as he's now going into the final corner onto the front stretch to begin his lap. Once again, if you're just joining in, we're having some technical difficulties for a second, so we're switching the servers so you guys can see it. So we're calling radio style just for the moment. But Lane Phillips right now is now entering turn 1. Great corner by him, was a little bit low and hit the bump a little bit too much, so I think he might have had some slower time through that corner. But pretty decent throughout the S's. Lane Phillips now going into the backstretch, getting ready to enter the bus stop. The bus stop is a key part of this track. You know, you got to be fast on the bus stop to be fast. Lane Phillips, I think, is one of the drivers that could be fast. Great bus stop corner. Great entry, great exit. Going into that long right-hander after the bus stop. Great exit once again. Lane Phillips seems to be on a flyer. Getting ready to go into the last couple corners now. Those famous left and right corners. Lane Phillips, nice job. Easy in, easy out. Coming into the final turn now. Heading on to the front stretch. Great corner by him on the front stretch now. It gets a little bit loose on the exit, but we're going to see where that puts him. As he's now beginning the second lap. His first lap was a 1:13.010, so faster than the lap time he set in practice. Currently top on the board at the moment, but there's still some trucks who haven't quite set a lap. William McKellar just set a lap, a 1:13.490. Currently second on the board for William McKellar. Maybe trying to go for that second lap. James McRae, also 1:13.3 on the dot, goes up to second in front of William McKellar. Looks like he's also going for his second lap. Lane Phillips had a great first lap, but I don't think his second lap will be it at the moment. So we're going to switch to James McRae now in that 7 Toyota machine, who's just now coming out the S's, going on to the backstretch, getting ready to enter the bus stop. James McRae, great entry, very shallow. That's what you need to do here. Great bus stop. I think he could have done a little bit better, but it was definitely decent. James McRae, I think, might be the one to beat tonight. Same with Lane Phillips and William McKellar. Definitely the top 3 drivers. James McRae gets a little bit loose. So you guys are now watching him in that Toyota 7 machine coming into the final last corners. He's definitely carrying a lot of speed. Going into the final corner. Onto the front stretch, James McRae. Little bit loose, maybe scrubbed off a little bit of time there. But James McRae crosses the line on the second lap. He will stay in second with a 1:13.040. So James McRae second on the board. Lane Phillips still on pole with a 1:13.010. William McKellar, though, is still on his... Actually, no, he's parked. William McKellar will not complete his second lap. So William McKellar still third, but with a 1:13.490. So only 2 drivers have gotten into the O's right now at the moment. So you see William McKellar just parked there. Can't really complete his lap. Michael Wingo, though, heading to the last corner on his second lap. I think he's taking it a little bit easy. You see some of that damage on that right front. Maybe had some contact with a wall. But heading onto the front stretch for his final lap on qualified just came to an end, so he could not get it done in time. Lane Phillips, top of the board. James McRae second, as the drivers are going to start to get on the grid.
Yeah, and with qualifying underway, we did get back up and going here with the new server. We just need our producer to share his telemetry with the guys up in the booth here. But with that, we'll wait on everybody to get gridded up, and we'll go with you starting grid here at Watkins Glen.
So cars are starting to go on the grid. Just like Christian said, pace truck is out there too. Um, so it'll be a long pace lap. Um, as it's definitely going to be interesting and fun to watch. Um, so yeah, drivers are lined up now as we're going to try to pull up the starting grid for you guys. All right. Row number 1, Lane Phillips, top of the board in that pole position. In second, James McRae on his outside. Second row, William McKellar in that third position. Great lap by him. And starting on his outside will be Joe Hudson in that fourth position. Rounding out the top 5 is Leroy Koblenz in that 42 machine. On his outside in sixth is Ira Kolas. Behind them in seventh, Brandon Honeycutt. And on his outside is John Fowler. In ninth, Cody DeForge. And in 10th is Barry Stevens.
Sam Kohlhaas is going to take over that 11th place spot in that 28 machine with Bryce Dickerson sitting in that P12 spot. P13 is going to be Brandon Sanfilippo with Gerald Livingston in the number 96 in the number 14 position. 15th is going to be Russell Martin Jr. with Ty Dickinson in 16th. And then rounding out your field is going to be Michael Wingo in that 01 Chevy Silverado. So 17 drivers here tonight. Gavin, I think it's going to be an interesting race here. I think we definitely have a huge, a lot of different skill gaps here when it comes to road. Not a lot of people do a lot of road here. Not a lot of people like to run these road courses, but it's on the schedule. I definitely think there's drivers that do enjoy the road side of things. So I definitely think it's going to be interesting to see how everybody adapts to this dynamic racetrack.
Definitely going to be interesting. Like you said, different kind of skill ratings, I guess, skill advantages between some of these drivers on road courses. Lane Phillips, top of the board. James McRae, second. They're really close. Both skillful drivers here at Watkins Glen. Really close times. And then there's a 3/10 gap between James McRae and the third place driver of William McKellar. So I think William McKellar will definitely be fast out there today, but I think it's definitely going to be a little bit of a time gap, but it's definitely going to be interesting, and it's all about strategy here. So I honestly think anyone has a chance as long as he can, stay a little bit up on speed.
Yeah, for me, I feel like, these guys are quick and we know it, but you still have to be consistent. You have to keep that truck clean. I don't really see these guys as like a clear favorite here because it's so easy to overstep the trucks. You saw it in practice there, how easy it was to set these trucks out. But, like as you mentioned, Gavin, McKellar going to be quick. We think, we know McRae and Phillips are going to be quick here. Look at Joe Hudson. He ran into Xfinity Series last race here or yesterday at the Roval, so he does have a little bit. He's a little warmed up, I feel like, for this Watkins Glen race. He's in that road racing mood here, so look for that number 49 to maybe make some noise here.
As the pace truck is getting ready to head on to pit road, you see the drivers kind of backing up just a little bit, getting ready to take us to the green flag. So like I said, definitely going to be interesting. Turn 1, lap 1 is definitely going to be interesting too. These drivers got to be aware of each other because you're going so fast, you got to slow down really fast. But once again, coming out the final corner, Lane Phillips versus James McRae, Ford versus Toyota are going to lead us to the green flag.
Yeah, 55 laps here. Going into the restart zone. Green here. Ford versus Toyota here. Going into turn 1.
Drivers easy into turn 1. You see William McKellar kind of was on the inside of that 7 machine. Got clear, James McRae of William McKellar. Lane Phillips kind of pulling away just a tiny bit out of the S's onto the backstretch.
Yeah, single file up here for the whole pack here. You're going to see a lot of drivers. I feel like trying to figure out what they need to do here. I feel like this is one of the only road courses that you kind of have to get single file going into those S's because you just cannot go side by side there. But you're going to see everybody, start to be maybe a little bit more aggressive here. Coming out of that bus stop, going into the carousel. towards the latter half of this lap here.
Yeah, Lane Phillips still has a pretty decent lead on James McRae, but James McRae is catching ever so slightly. Lane Phillips coming into the final last couple corners. The top three really hanging on with each other. It's not really that big of a gap, but now coming onto the front stretch for the first lap, it's going to be Lane Phillips leading lap 1 here at Watkins Glen.
Lane's going to lead the first lap here, and all those drivers back there, 1 through 3, basically equally spread apart, about 4 to 3 tenths right here. And then they have a huge gap on the fourth place driver, Joe Hudson. And Joe starting to get ran down by that number 42 Leeward Koblenz. You know, Koblenz a really good run for him at the start of this race.
I think we're going to see those top 3 drivers start taking it a little bit easy. You know, they're not running as fast as they really can, because tires is definitely a thing that we're going to see in this race. You know, tire saving, tire strategies is definitely interesting here at road courses. Even a road course like this at Watkins Glen, you don't want to cook up your tires too fast, because then you'll just go really slow and slide all over the place. So you got to be really careful to keep the truck as straight as possible, kind of be as smooth as possible, keep the tires intact.
Exactly. You're going to see these drivers trying to probably just back up and try to find a pace that they want to run at, and then kind of maintain it there. Maybe bump it up if they're starting to get pressure, like this leader is of Phillips here. But I feel like right now it's just going to be about maintaining the truck, maintaining the tires, not making mistakes, not pushing this truck too hard. I mean, with these stock cars, it's just so easy to overshoot the corners here. You know, lock up the fronts. You know, get a little bit of a wheel hop into the rears and just really get the car upside here. So I feel like it's about just making it just that perfect echelon of, you know, still pushing the car to gain speed, but still keeping that truck underneath you.
James McRae has set the fastest lap of this race so far with a 1:13.383. Fastest truck on the track, faster than Lane Phillips, but you know, he definitely wants to make the move for that lead, but you got to make it at the right time. You know, if you make it into a tough corner, that can send you wrecking Lane Phillips, and that wouldn't be a happy race car driver right there. Or you could wreck him and yourself, and that would give William McKellar the lead. So you know, if he knows he's faster, but he has to be smart a little bit, and you know when to make the move.
Exactly. You have to think about, you have to calculate when you want to do it, because if you do it even in the wrong place, you might not wreck him, but you will give McKellar an opportunity to maybe pass you both there for the lead and maybe run away while you guys are fighting for that lead there, or maybe burn your tires up trying to fight further there. But you still see McKellar right there. It looks like he's going to look inside here, thinks better of it, and to stick behind that number 6 car. But McKellar is still right there, getting ready to pounce on any mistakes these front 2 drivers do.
Top three cars all within a second right here. James McRae had a huge run out the final corner. Like Christian Delgado said, thought better making that move into the first corner. Now going through the S's onto the backstretch. Still Lane Phillips is out up front, but top 3 cars all under a blanket.
You have to look back. A little battle for fourth starting to heat up. You see Koblenz trying to catch number 49 of Hudson here. You see another battle back here for the 6th place spot of Ira Kohlhaas and Cody DeForest. But right now, top 3 is still the closest battle on the track here.
Very, very interesting so far. You know, a lot of drivers are kind of spreading out now, but those top 3 are still very close together. James McRae kind of sends it in way deeper than Lane Phillips, but that gives Lane Phillips the chance to kind of get a better exit. But James McRae right on that bumper coming out the final corner. He's gonna make a move on the front stretch. They're gonna be side by side coming across the start-finish line, going into turn 1.
Yeah, give that one to Lane Phillips, but you're gonna see McRae. Ooh,
oh, Lane's loose.
Yeah, Lane sent it in a little bit harder, but McRae now loose, and now that's going to allow the 75 to get on the outside of this 7 machine. Now a battle for the P2 spot.
Side by side in the S's. Lane Phillips still leading this race, but William McKellar jumps up to that 2nd position. James McRae and William McKellar, since they were side by side in the S's, it slows them down just a tiny bit and lets Lane Phillips pull away ever so slightly. But William McKellar now up to that 2nd position in front of James McRae.
Yeah, I felt like McRae just kind of lost a little bit of time there. I think he was trying to react to the 6. We definitely saw that the 6 drove it in a lot deeper than these guys. They had got the truck upset. I think McKellar was trying to react to your race leader there Unfortunately, got himself upset. They should have sent him five. Super
Keller
loose. Almost hits
almost.
that fence right there on the left side of the track there. But that's going to give the second place back to the 7 machine.
Yeah, mistakes already being made very early on in lap 5 by both James McRae and William McKellar. It's a long race, so you want to put those mistakes behind you. But like Christian said, William McKellar, huge mistake, drops back to third, nearly hits that inside wall, but now it's up to James McRae to try to catch up to that first place driver of Lane Phillips.
I definitely think that 7 machine has a little bit more pace right now. I feel like Lane is willing to drive it in a little bit more. I felt like McRae's been more consistent, and I feel like consistency is what's going to get you back out there. If you can see Lane really driving it in hard in the corners, and that will burn the tires off a little bit more than what McRae is doing, at least right now. And that will allow that 7 machine to slowly reel this Ford back in as the laps go on. But as I say that, I mean, he's already within 2 car lengths of your race leader here.
Yeah, very interesting. Coming out of that long right turn corner, Lane Phillips still leading, but James McRae catching up, kind of right on his rear bumper. William McKellar, though, dropping back a little bit, now 2 seconds back from those front 2 drivers. Very, very interesting, but coming into those final 2 corners, James McRae is going to try to get a lot of speed. The past couple laps, I think James McRae has definitely been faster throughout that final corner and has been able to get big runs, giving him the chance to pass Lane Phillips, but hasn't really succeeded in that quite yet.
Yeah, the 7 truck's been able to kind of, I would say, kind of arc the corner is probably the best way to put it, and get just in the gas a little bit earlier than the 6, where the 6 is kind of having to wait on the truck to rotate, and it's really allowing the 7 truck to make a lot of speed there on that last left-hand corner and going down the front stretch there. It's really allowed him to close in here. But I feel like Lane a little bit better in the S's, so you can definitely see what parts of the track these drivers are better at. You see Lane, gap the 7 a little bit, and you'll see the 7 kind of get back to him towards the latter half of this lap here.
Yeah, Lane Phillips and James McRae are both really fast throughout that bus stop. Same with William McKellar is kind of back there catching up ever so slightly. He was almost 2 seconds back. Now he's about a second and a half. So very interesting so far. William McKellar, you can definitely tell he's driving a little bit harder than those front 2, but very interesting. You're looking at the 96, or where it was looking at the 96 back there, coming out the bus stop. But back to the leaders. Lane Phillips coming into the final corner. James McRae, like I said, very fast in that final corner. Gets a run, as he has the run to make the move, but you got to think about it. Is it smart to do it, make it, or is it not? He is gonna do it. Entering turn 1, so they're gonna be side by side entering turn 1.
Yeah, McRae with a great turn 1 there, and then really just easily passes that 6 machine. And now 6 is going to be in the dirty air for the first time here going through the S's. You're going to definitely see how Lane reacts to not being in the lead here. You're going to see maybe can this 7 pull away with that clean air.
Oh yeah, Lane Phillips got really tight on exit. Very, very interesting. James McRae, first time leading this field. It's definitely got to be feel a little bit better leading out of that dirty air, just like Christian said. Now Lane Phillips experiencing that dirty air. So Lane Phillips no longer leading here at Watkins Glen. James McRae took it after that pass in turn 1. As you see, William McKellar got crazy loose out of that corner there, but keeps it straight. But makes a mistake and loses it a lot of the time.
That's the second time McKellar's gotten loose out of the carousel there. And he's going to lose a bunch of time here. I felt like he did a good job of cooling those tires off before and kind of like at least getting himself back up there. But now, very far behind, once again, behind your front 2 here. And it's going to force him to even push a little bit harder now if he wants a chance to get back up there pretty quickly. Now, 3 seconds behind your race leader and even almost 2 seconds behind the P2 driver now.
James McRae pulling away ever so slightly from that Lane Phillips machine. Very, very interesting so far. James McRae, you can definitely tell he saved up his stuff just a little bit more than that 6 machine. He's hitting every corner just right, as you see these 3 cars going through the S's right now. You see the 94 of John Fowler. In front of him is Brandon Honeycutt, and that 96 machine that we're currently on board with is Gerald Livingston. So going into the S's now, you know, they're kind of really the closest somewhat battle we have, but besides those front two positions. But very interesting. You know, it's a tiny pack going on back here.
Yeah, that's the battle for P8. You see Brandon Honeycutt starting to, gap the Fowler machine, but Fowler getting a lot of pressure from Gerald Livingston back there in that number 96 Sweet Tea Gang Truck Series machine there. And you're going to see the 96 try to look inside here, going into the left-hand turn here.
Gerald Livingston passes John Fowler very clean. Now coming into the final corner, Gerald Livingston, very nice set of corners there, those final couple turns. So that's going to put him up to 9th. So great job by him. Get into that 9th position. Very clean pass. But back to our lead, James McRae pulling away quite a lot from that Lane Phillips machine. You're going to see all three of those on the back, all the top 3 drivers on the backstretch. But James McRae, definitely the fastest truck on track, but he is starting to catch up to some lap traffic. That lap traffic would be the 01 machine of Michael Wingo, who's on the same straightaway as James McRae. So we'll see Michael Wingo, which I would assume he would just let him on, no problem. But it is going to be interesting, you know, seeing how that lap traffic might affect him.
Yeah, I mean, Wingo's at such, just so much. I wouldn't say he's so much slower, but these guys are just so much quicker than him that, I don't think it'll be that much of an issue for this leader to get around the 01. But Michael, once again, just new to the sim, so just learn every week.
Oh no! Super close.
As he spins in front of the leader there, maybe commented his curse here, but Wingo gonna get that thing spun around. A good job by all the front 3 right there to get around now. Probably a brown pants moment for that 7 machine, but no damage for anybody. Just a super scary moment right there. But that actually almost kind of benefited your race leader there. As he's actually, as the 2 behind him had to check up for the lap car, he's gonna gap even a little bit more on these drivers.
A little too close for comfort as we're taking a look at really what happened. You see going into turn 1, Michael Wingo extremely slow, and then I guess just gasses it up, catches that curve, and just gets loose, and man, almost clipped his left rear, and I thought for sure they were going to make contact. But way too close for comfort as we see Lane Phillips and William McKellar kind of back there pretty decently close. It's William McKellar and Lane Phillips coming into the final corner as James McRae is kind of pulling away just a little bit still.
Yeah, McRae's really showing that right now. He's the guy to beat, at least right now, for this first part of the race here. But once again, McKellar's starting to reel down the 6 machine. McKellar, I feel like has good pace right here, but keeps making those little mistakes, especially in the carousel, which keeps backing him up, compared to these front 2 drivers here. You've seen them start to reel in that 6 machine just a little bit here. You see the 6 machine starting to get a little upset on the exit of the corners, so you see that back end stepping out.
Yeah, William McKellar last lap was around the same time James McRae set, so very even times between James McRae and William McKellar, but Lane Phillips just a little bit slower as he gets really loose in the bus stop, and he's going to end up going around from that 2nd position. Lane Phillips, yeah, just lost it on the entry of the bus stop. We're going to take a look at it real quick, but that was very interesting. Loses that 2nd place finish. Sorry, not 2nd place finish, 2nd place position with William McKellar. As we're now taking a look at it. See him on the backstretch heading into the bus stop, and it looks like it was fine. He was doing what he normally does, and I guess just came in a little bit too fast and tried to save it, locked it up, and just went right. So not good for Lane Phillips in that number 6 machine. Still gonna be in that top 3, but it is gonna set him back quite a lot of time as James McRae now pulling away by nearly a 2nd that last lap.
Yeah, I think McKellar had to react to once again, the wrecking machine in front of him. Lost about a good chunk of time here now. Over 4 seconds behind the race leader here. Well, as you mentioned before, Gavin, running about the same lap times here as your race leader. So maybe, if he can continue to set good laps here, can maybe even start to cut down on the lead just a little bit.
You could definitely tell though his tires are, wearing just a tiny bit. You can see definitely his bus stop line is very noticeable. How different it's changed between him on lap 1 and now him on lap 13. So very interesting how that tire wear is really affecting him. But you now see him going into that last couple corners. Um, so once again, very interesting strategy. Definitely coming in play. William McKellar hasn't really been the luckiest man of this race, having to avoid both a lap car and last lap Lane Phillips. So very interesting for both William McKellar and now James McRae kind of pulling away just little by little.
Right now, McRae's and McKellar matching lap time. So I mean, McKellar's doing what he needs to keep the gap there, but obviously he would probably like a little bit more there. As we see Ira Colas on a right on board with that there in the P6 position. Ira, you know, qualified P6, sitting in P6. Just Mr. Consistency right here, keeping that truck clean, and you know, just running the P6 spot. A really good point save for him. As we talk right here, another battle we're looking at now is Joe Hudson once again trying to run away from this 42 machine of Leroy Koblitz. You know, Leroy having a career day here in the SSR Truck Series, trying to run down this 49 machine.
They're just 2 seconds behind Lane Phillips in that 6th machine after we saw Lane Phillips took that big slide. So they're catching him ever so slightly as you saw him go through that corner in front of him just for a second there. But the 49 of Joe Hudson and both Leroy Koblenz catching him ever so slightly as I think Lane Phillips' tires definitely didn't have a good reaction to that huge slide, as once again Joe Hudson still 3 seconds back.
Yeah, definitely. There's no way that Lane's tires really reacted very well to that. I mean, definitely the tires don't want to be, you know, flat spotted and getting locked up and stuff like that, trying to save it. They want to keep rolling. So definitely, probably Lane's tires not the best, especially compared to Joe or Leroy, who haven't made really any mistakes. You see Joe getting just a little bit upset, a little loose out of the corner, but not really doing anything bad to the tires. Like, you know, the 6 car, or even McKellar, who almost ended his race, almost hitting that outside barrier there coming out of the carousel.
Now Lane Phillips passing Michael Wingo on that long straightaway after that long right hand corner. So Michael Wingo, we saw him took that slide in front of the leader earlier. It's interesting seeing him get lapped once again. So very interesting. Michael Wingo doing his best out there on track, but currently sitting in that last position at 17th, 2 laps down. So Michael Wingo, not the best day, you know, not the day he really wanted, but definitely still out on track.
Yeah, I definitely think the best thing for Michael is just to continue to run laps, even if they're, you know, not competitive. He needs to, you know, feel comfortable pushing the car, and you saw that's what he tried doing earlier this race, and unfortunately looped it around in front of your race leader. But I feel like that's the best thing that he can do, is continue to run laps and just continue to get time in the sim. And I felt like, at least for me, learning fresh off the boat, right, just as much time in the sim was what really helped me get better and get fast, and at least just be more consistent. So, but right now looking at the 13 machine of Brandon Honeycutt in that P8 spot, trying to run down Barry Stevens in that number 78 Toyota Tundra. It's probably also one of your closest battles on track right here. It's for the 7th position.
At Barry Stevens in that long right hand corner, same with the 13 machine. Brendan Honeycutt. So very interesting. I wouldn't count Gerald Livingston right behind them, so count him out. But once again, very interesting. James McRae, though, catching Bryce Dickinson, the next lap car he's really got to worry about ever so slightly. Bryce Dickinson in that 84 Ford machine is now in the backstretch. But I say in the next lap or so, James McRae will definitely get around him.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows how quick of a pace that McRae is trying to set for the field here. I mean, Bryce, by any means, is not a bad driver here, and already with 17 complete here, not even halfway done yet, he's in contention of going a lap down here, unless obviously something happens to your race leader. And I mean, that just really shows the pace that McRae and McKellar, Phillips, Hudson and Koblitz I hear all in the 14-second gap range here are printing down.
Well, 17 laps in, almost 18 laps in. James McRae still out in front at the moment. Um, Very, very interesting. We saw him battling Lane Phillips for the lead not too long ago when Lane Phillips, James McRae got around Lane Phillips, and then Lane Phillips made a mistake running second. So William McKellar got up to that second position, and James McRae, the dominant racer this race so far, as you see some tire smoke in turn one. Looks like Bryce Dickinson went wide as he's now going to get around him and let James McRae by no problem. Um, but very, very interesting so far with how this race is playing out. We're seeing some strategy start to really be involved here.
I mean, you're really starting to see who's the quickest come out here and, take the position that they probably didn't deserve to be in here. I mean, obviously, McCray out here with a 4.5 second lead here with McKellar. I feel like he's the only reason he's up there is because he's been consistently clean here versus Lane, who made that huge mistake going to the bus stop. But once again, you still have Joe and Leroy kind of semi-close to each other, but Ira starting to make his way up towards the front here, starting to reel in that 42 and that 49 machine in that number 6 place.
And William McKellar, even though he's five seconds back, almost 6 seconds back, like Christian said, very consistent on speed, running around the same lap times as James has really been running. All it takes is James to make one single mistake, and William McKellar can take that lead, or even James McRae trying to get around a lap car, and a lap car makes a mistake, which we kind of saw earlier. It was very, very close between him and I believe it was Michael Wingo. So I wouldn't count William McKellar out quite just yet, as he still has a shot to bring this in victory lane.
Yeah, and I mean, as the tire wear goes up and up and up, you can see the trucks start to handle worse and worse, and you can easily see a mistake out of the 7 machine or McKellar or Lane Phillips once again to allow some of these guys maybe 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th place to maybe make up some time with these race leaders. Obviously, they're going to have to pit at least once here at the Glen. So whatever time that they can make up here, maybe you might see some different pit strategies come into play.
Yeah, I think we'll start to see pits pretty soon, pit strategy, because we are approaching halfway in this race. So I think between the next 5-10 laps, I think we'll start to see those front 2, front 3 drivers starting to go into pit road. And like I said, pit road entry right out of that last corner can be tricky at some time. So I think it is very possible for James McRae to even make a mistake there heading into pit road.
Yeah, I mean, Watkins Glen, one of the more tricky pit roads if you try to push too hard. It's kind of deceiving where you feel like you can push, and then the penalty just kind of sneaks up on you, and you see a lot of drivers make mistakes and hit those water barrels right at the entrance of pit road there. Hopefully that doesn't happen to anybody here, but I mean, it's very easy to overshoot the pit entrance here, and definitely at least change the way your race might go.
James McRae once again catching another lap car. That is the 28 machine of Sam Colas, who you see right in front of him there. Actually, 2 lap cars, because right in front of Sam is Michael Wingo in that 01 machine. But Sam Colas looks to have some heavy left side front damage, maybe got into the wall, which we can definitely see here at Watkins Glen, where that final corner, you carry so much speed in that final corner, and that wall is kind of right there, and it kind of jumps out and scares you just a tiny bit. So I think maybe you could have hit that or something, but here comes the leader right behind him, James McRae in that 7 Toyota Tundra.
Yeah, there's something to try to make a move here. Unfortunately, the S is kind of worst place to catch a lapper. You can't really try to get around someone unless they go out of their way to let you go here. But so he's definitely didn't want to catch him here, but I think this one he's going to let him go back through in the backstretch, going into the bus stop here, as he does, and that 28 is going to go a lap down.
And then there's another slow car right in front of him, the 01 of Michael Wingo, who's going to let him by as well. Michael Wingo, we saw him have he had a very close incident with James McRae earlier on, so Michael Wingo definitely does not want that to happen again, as it was a little bit too close for comfort for that 7 machine.
And with all that lap traffic, it did allow McKellar to catch up just a little bit here. Got that gap to just around 4 seconds here. He was about 5.5 with that lap traffic that McRae had to negotiate. Did let McKellar reel him in a little bit here. Now, will McKellar be able to get around these lap cars just a little bit better than the 7 did?
Yeah, as McKellar, now on the front stretch. Um, so you're looking at Ira Colas in the 29 machine. Um, you see him, they're coming to the final corner. I believe that's a battle for the top 4, top 5 with Joe Hudson and Leroy Coblin. So very, very interesting. Those 3 drivers really under a blanket for that, if you want to call it that top 4. But you see them going into that first corner on board with Ira, that 29 machine. He's had a great race, you know, has been very consistent. You know, hasn't really made any mistakes, which is really what you don't want to do here. But you see him battling Leroy. But as I'm saying that, William McKellar kind of got slowed down just a tiny bit by Michael Wingo trying to get by him out of the bus stop. But very, very interesting so far. A lot of different interactions, I would call it, between some of these drivers.
Yeah, I mean, Leroy and Joe here has not really been able to get away from each other here. They've been within about a second of each other the whole race here, going to halfway here past the stretch here. So Leroy just trying to do anything he can to get back to that 49 machine, but now with the pressure of the 29 behind them, I feel like it's kind of almost forced him to step it up and maybe push that truck a little bit harder than he has been. Prior to the beginning of the race.
Yeah, William McKellar lost a second and a half after Michael Wingo, after he nearly made contact with Michael Wingo in the bus stop, had to check up just a tiny bit there. But he's lost a lot of time because of that. He's still in second, but dropping back to 6 seconds, 6.5 seconds. So not what William McKellar really wants. So it's definitely interesting. Race definitely not over. Like I said, all it takes is for James McRae to make one single mistake, and William McKellar can go right up to that lead. As William McKellar and James McRae have both been really clean throughout this entire race.
As we start to think about pit stops here, we're getting around halfway here. One thing you have to think about is you can't speed down here. I mean, it's super hard. As I think here comes McRae now. Now, as I am mistaken, I got a little trigger happy. It's super easy to pit the speed on pit road here because of how, you know, close the kind of the line is here. I mean, you definitely want to push as much speed as here, but just kind of like a surprise as you exit the corner, there's a line that you need to get to not speed here. So, I mean, it's very easy for these drivers to maybe make a mistake, speed in pit road here, and you know, have to sit down pit road and take that penalty.
As we saw on stream there, that 4th, 5th, and 6th position getting by that 84 machine of Bryce Dickinson, who was a lap down. As we see a car who spun around as Michael Wingo once again, trouble out of turn 1. That's the second time that at least we've witnessed him having trouble there, as he's parked it, towed. We see a little bit of that front nose damage. We're going to take a look at it real quick and see exactly what happens. Michael Wingo has, you know, made a couple mistakes throughout the series, throughout the multiple weeks. But that's his second, third incident we've seen this race, and man, hard hit into that tire barrier on the inside. So not something Michael Wingo wanted. As he's still running in the top 15 or in that 15th position, but he is gonna try to repair that damage as best as he can.
Yeah, I think that might be a race ender. You heard that engine expire once he hit that wall there. So, I mean, he definitely can go down there and take the damage there. But I don't know what happened to San Filippo or Fowler here. But they're also respectively in eight and 9 laps down compared to his 4 now. So if he can, I don't know. And it seems like those two are either in the pit still trying to fix that car or in the garage trying to fix that car. So I don't know if they have just decided to put the truck back up in the hauler and call it a day, or if they're still trying to get that damage fixed. But definitely still a chance for Michael Wingo to keep that top 15 position.
I think pit strategy is definitely going to come into play these next 5 laps. James McRae still leading by 7.5, nearly 8 seconds. James McRae, though, very clean race so far, has really hit every corner as perfectly as you really want to here, as challenging as it can really be. But William McKellar in that second position decides to still stay out. So he's not pitting. I think if I'm William McKellar, or probably what he's thinking is to try to pit around the same time James McRae does. So I think he's going to wait just a little bit here as James McRae still has a huge lead.
You're going to see McRae going to the bus stop here, and just, I mean, you see that lapper of Russell Martin. He's going to have to try to negotiate around him once again, but I mean, this really shows. I mean, I know McRae does a lot of, practice time to get prepared for these races, and this really just shows what the practice does. Well, how like that. Some people just can just naturally jump in a car and just be decently quick here, but also taking time out of the day to learn these trucks and learn the track and everything. Definitely starting to show off here with the 7 machine, as he has now an 8.5 second lead over your P2 driver of McRae.
Yeah, the lead is just extending like crazy here as James McRae, definitely the one to beat. But he is coming up, like Christian said, not too long ago, another lap car of Russell Martin, and right in front of Russell is Ty Dickinson. So James McRae has to work his way once again around a couple more lap cars, which is he's had success earlier on throughout this race. But you can definitely make a mistake trying to get through those lap cars, and you got to be careful. As we see now, Lane Phillips in pit road. Lane Phillips, who was running that third position, is going to go to pit road. You see the 13 behind him now entering pit road, Brandon Honeycutt. So 2 cars now entering pit road. I think we're going to see the top 2 possibly enter it pretty soon. But that once again, that is Lane Phillips. And that 6 machine and the 13 and Brandon Honeycutt, both on pit road, taking fuel and tires. So James McRae, like I said, now seeing those 2 pitting, I think he's gonna pit very soon. Did you see those lap cars in front of him though? Like we mentioned earlier. So I think time's gonna come soon where he is gonna have to pit.
Yeah, I can either see McRae reacting to everybody else pitting, or he could just go as long as he wants, as long as
Russell Martin, trouble in front of him.
Yeah, Russell's super loose here. I could also see the 7 just running it out dry here. I mean, if he can run the laps I use now, he's running still 14 sevens, compared to maybe with freshers you can run maybe 13s. If he can keep this gap the way it is, and pit as late as he can, he's going to have the freshest tires in the field by far, and then continue to stretch that gap if he can get lucky with getting in and out of the pits.
Yeah, James McRae. Like I said, pit strategy definitely coming up sooner than later. But Brandon Honeycutt, who's one car we did see pit, and that 13 truck is just in front of James McRae. You saw him for a split second. You see him there now, entering that final couple 2 corners in that teal blue truck. But very interesting. With how pit strategy is going. You see Ty Dickinson now entering pit road in that 67 machine. So, like I said, multiple trucks now coming into pit road.
Yeah, Ty, I think was probably the best case scenario for him. Just he was about to get lapped anyways. Might as well just come down and get a fresh set of tires, top off on fuel, and just try to see if you can figure out a way to maybe run some quicker laps here. Obviously, Watkins Glen, very difficult track. Really, road racing in these heavy stock cars is not the easiest thing to do. It's not like going out and taking your street car or like the Miata out here and doing Watkins Glen. These things are tough to get slowed down to go into the corners and stuff. So, hopefully Ty can get these fresh set of tires, maybe figure out something else to maybe get himself some better track position.
You saw our third place driver, who was in third place of Joe Hudson, has entered pit road now. I noticed that Ira Colas exited pit road this lap. Bryce Dickinson um, now into pit road, so both Ty and Bryce have now pit. Barry Stevens is on pit road. Like I said, Joe Hudson. So a bunch of cars on pit road. Now we're seeing the leader, James McRae, now entering pit road. Like I said, you want to be really careful on speeds. You do not want to get a speeding penalty. Right behind him, Russell Martin is on pit road, and then behind Russell, William McKellar, who had a really good entry, kind of carried a lot of speed, also on pit road. So top two on pit road. Wouldn't shock me if we see Leroy, who's in that third position now, took over Joe's spot, would come into pit road. But James McRae and Willie McKellar, both taking fuel and tires now.
And here comes Leroy. I feel like that was probably the longest you could go. That's why you saw everybody come down at once here. I feel like these guys were the ones who stretched it as long as you could here on fuel. Now you're going to see them come down, top it up on fuel, get those tires, and then try to, take advantage of those couple lap newer tires and maybe make some spots up there. That's the gambles. Do you pit a little bit earlier and get those tires earlier to maybe gap the field at the start of the run, or do you wait a couple and are confident that you can drive back up and take those spots back on the newer tires?
So you see the 49 going into pit road again. Maybe got a speeding penalty because we saw him pit last lap. I don't know if he got some kind of penalty. I don't know if it was a speeding penalty or maybe an off-track penalty, but definitely back in pit road. Gonna have to serve that. So not something Joe Hudson wanted to happen, as he was one of the faster trucks on track. But you do see that 42 and the 42, 29, and the 13 really all together once again. So very, very interesting so far.
Yeah, it does show on the race directory that Joe Hudson does have a black flag, so I would probably say it's probably exiting pits, speeding on exit here, because obviously if he sped on entry, they would have held him at the start of the pit stop here. So probably just a little bit too happy with the throttle and just went a little bit too hard on exiting here. And fortunately, he's gonna have to sit here and serve this penalty.
As you see those three cars really under a blanket. You see the 29 of Ira Colas right there. We saw pit before James McRae, but he's up there now, just a minute behind our leader, which you may think is a lot, but he's staying on the lead lap, which a lot of drivers really haven't been able to. So great job by Ira Colas now in that fifth position. Lane Phillips, so back up to that third position. Lane Phillips is 32 seconds back. So very, very interesting. The top three really started with, now back up in the top three. So great job by those three drivers right there.
Yeah, and with Joe Hudson getting that penalty, you're going to see that sim motion machine of Leroy Koblitz up to the fourth place spot, and he's only one, Lane Phillips' mistake away from getting up in that podium position. So what a great run by Leroy. What a great run by the 13 of Honeycutt. We saw him, get a win here earlier this season in the Sweet Tea Gang Truck Series with that tragedy call. So we know that he can be competitive and come here and run up front. You see, a huge slide by the 29 back there of Kohlhaas. But good save by him. He's going to have to regroup and get back on the horse.
Yeah, I was trying to catch up to that 42 and just got really loose and ended up also losing that fifth position. So he's going to drop back to sixth. So Brennan Honeycutt will now be running that top five. But James McRae still, we haven't really seen a mistake out of him. So great job by him. No mistakes made. That's what you need to do. So once again, huge props to James McRae. Great driver here. He definitely the one to beat.
Exactly. I mean, he's really showing what it takes to win here in the Truck Series, especially on the road course. When you see McKellar in the background shot there. But, I mean, you can see, no mistakes by this 7 machine. Nothing that he's done wrong here. You've seen McKellar make a couple mistakes getting loose out of the carousel. Obviously, you saw Lane Phillips have that huge mistake in the bus stop. And you still see McKellar running fast. You still see McRae running faster without mistakes, right? You see like Koblitz and Honeycutt and Kohlhaas who haven't made a mistake, but they're definitely not running as fast as that some machine is. So huge props to McRae for, basically putting on a clinic at least from this point of the race.
Yes, I kind of want to watch on board and show you guys how he really goes through the bus stop here because it's very interesting. You to run fast, you gotta get really close to that blue wall, which he just really good at. He just carries so much speed throughout that bus stop. It's super impressive um, compared to a lot of these other drivers. So props to him just on that and running the track very, very well.
Well, another thing I'll note that he really does use those curves up in the bus stop a lot more than some of these other guys are willing to. You can see him almost get all four tires on every one of those curves. A lot of people can't do that because it does upset the truck if you do it wrong. But you see McRae easily being able to do it, and that's where he's making a lot of time up in that bus stop. Is just being more aggressive, using that truck up a lot more than some of these other guys are.
Yeah, as you see him right behind this lap car, that is Cody DeForge in that 24 machine. Cody DeForge running in the top 10 right now in that 9th position, fighting for that lead lap, which I think James McRae will eventually get past James McRae. Much faster, but Cody DeForge, great run for him, top 10 at the moment. So, you can't be mad at that. So great job by him as Cody DeForge. If I was him, I'd just let the leader by right there, but looks like he's not going to, and he's gonna stay in front of James McRae in the bus stop.
Well, we know Cody was going to fight to stay up here. He's one of the um, people that aren't going to really pull over, as you see he does there. But I mean, maybe he just had a not a good carousel. We don't know, but we know Cody's a fighter. He's not going to really, especially if it's foot position, he's not going to just pull over for someone. Maybe trying to be cordial there for the race leader, McRae, doing a fantastic job leading the race. But yeah, it seems like Cody's either up here, in a P3 spot, or he's direct. So um, a lot of things out of his control this season. Unfortunately, not the season he probably wanted. But sitting up here in the top 10, you really can't complain about.
I do want to mention how Willie McKellar in that second position was 7 seconds back 2 laps ago. He's up to now 5.5 seconds. So running faster, but that could also be because James McRae, huge lead, could be saving a little bit while Willie McKellar is pushing, try to catch up. So that gives James McRae the better tires later in this run, but Willie McKellar catching up very quickly.
You see McRae running 14.3s. McKellar just ran a 13.7. So I definitely think, McRae's kind of on cruise control right here. He's trying to, manage the gap here. I mean, he has a 4 second, 5 second lead here, so he can afford to kind of back up his corners, save those tires, save the equipment a little bit more versus McRae, who is forced to kind of push that truck as hard as he can.
As you now see McKellar run into the final couple corners, like we said, running way faster than James McRae. So great job by him, but it's definitely interesting now how James McRae is leading this field. Very phenomenal racing from James McRae and Willie McKellar. So great job by those two drivers.
Yeah, right now everybody's kind of just spread out and trying to just run their own race. Right now, the closest battle on track is for that 5th place spot. See Honeycutt and Kohlhaas kind of somewhat close to each other, about 2 seconds, about a second to two away from each other. But Ira and Brandon, and kind of the same way that Hudson and Koblitz were, had been kind of racing around each other the whole race. Obviously, we saw Joe have that penalty, and that dropped him down to 10th place, a lap down. But right now, besides that, I mean, 5th place is definitely your closest battle on track here.
Very, very interesting. As we are, we're seeing some pretty clear skies. But I do want to bring up the weather real quick. As we are gonna pull it up in a second here. Give us one moment. All right, air temperature is 72 degrees outside, so decent temperature outside. We see winds 10 miles per hour to the south, and like I said, pretty clear skies. So it's a nice day, nice warm day. here in New York. So, these drivers are definitely feeling, a little bit of heat, but more than, than some races throughout this year. So, very, very interesting. Nice, clear weather out here on track today.
Exactly. 72, nice and sunny, nice and I wouldn't say cool, but nice and comfortable. The track tip right now 90 degrees, so perfect, really good temperature. It's nice and cool for the drivers to kind of attack this track as much as they want to here. Obviously, I feel like some drivers will maybe like a little bit more heat in the track, but still plenty of heat to push. Obviously, we see McKellar's still continuing to try to run down the race leader, running 13.8s. So I'm still definitely a lot of room to be racy here at Watkins Glen.
He does have to make his way past that 24 machine of Cody DeForge, who really got a let the leader by earlier on, which I would assume he'd do the same for William McKellar, which he isn't. He's just gonna let William McKellar make the move, but didn't really get out the way. But um, William McKellar did bring the time down to a 4-second gap, but it did end up going 5.5 seconds this lap, so it did lose a second and a half. Not sure if it's because James McRae started pushing a little bit harder, or if William McKellar kind of ran into a issue or even had an on-track problem. So interesting. I was losing a little bit of time, as I can't really say what the cause is at this moment.
Yeah, I have a feeling it might be just because he just caught that lap car in a weird spot. I mean, McKellar ran a 15.2 to McRae's 14 flat there, so I think it's just bad place, wrong time. Uh, with the 24 there, unfortunately, I had to check up and just couldn't get around them as quick as you needed to. I feel like because you don't see any damage on that number 75 machine, so I just felt like I just had a bad time negotiating around the Forge machine.
Yeah, as we're gonna go on to lap 39 here. Um, Very, very interesting. William McKellar, really bad corner. That last corner almost got into the wall. So that's really the first mistake I've seen William McKellar really have all race. Lost, I think, some more time there. Um, but James McRae still leading this race. Great job by him. Phenomenal job by him. Now we're on board with Ira Colas behind that 13 machine of Brandon Honeycutt. That is for that top 5 position, who we saw. Ira was originally running and made a mistake letting Brandon Honeycutt make his way to the top 5 about 10 laps ago. So Ira trying to get back to that top 5 position here. Doing the best he could, but definitely a really interesting, fun battle for that top 5 position.
Yeah, the battle continues here, and I mean, you're gonna see Ira continue to try to get his way back up there. I mean, you still see him not being able to get up close enough to maybe put the pressure on them, maybe force the 13 in a mistake here, but I think definitely Ira has the pace to keep up with them. Now it's just going to be what the matter of getting around this 13 machine. You definitely see where the strength and weaknesses of both of these drivers are. You can see once again, I feel like it's kind of the same situation we had earlier with McRae. Was better on the second part of the track versus McKellar. I mean, versus Lane Phillips was better at the front half. You see Ira really starting to catch the 13 here. So both of them sideways there towards the latter half of the lap here.
Very, very interesting so far, as our race leader James McRae is on lap 14, so 16 laps to go. He is going to the into the bus stop on the backstretch. We've talked about how well he is on the bus stop, really getting almost all 4 tires on those curbs throughout the bus stop. So great job by him. Phenomenal racing from that 7 machine. Um, he's definitely, like I mentioned, the one to beat. He's definitely the better road racer here in this race, but not so far behind is William McKellar and Lane Phillips. Lane Phillips was very fast and just made some too many mistakes. So, Lane Phillips, I think, if he didn't make those couple mistakes, 3 mistakes that we really saw towards the beginning of the race, where he was just racing, I think, a little bit too aggressive, I think he could be up here with James McRae and William McKellar. So he is still running that 3rd position, but he is 36 seconds back from the 7 machine.
Yeah, I definitely think McRae's been the most consistent driver here tonight. I definitely think that McKellar and even maybe Phillips has the pace to keep up with them. But as you just mentioned, Gavin, with the mistakes being handed out to those two drivers, it's just allowed McRae to slowly increase the gap here, now up to 7.5 seconds once again. And I feel like McRae just been the most consistent, hasn't made any mistakes, and if he can continue to do that, um, I feel like he's got a win in the bag here, despite a mistake from him. So I feel like he's the only person who can take this win away from himself. I feel like he's done a great job negotiating the lap traffic all race, and just needs to walk it home here.
Saw that really cool camera angle of McKellar in the bus stop. Really shows how close he is getting to that wall, and the talent these drivers really have. Um, so really cool camera shot there by our crew and our producer. So it's awesome seeing these drivers, how they're racing on this track and how professional they really are being. So now on board with the 75, going into turn one. You're carrying so much speed and you have to slow down so fast, and these drivers just do it so well.
Yeah, while we're here, why don't we just right on board with the lap round McKellar is, right now currently P2, right now running just under, best lap times in the race here. So let's on board for a lap with your P2 driver.
Just so close to that blue wall. Great job by him, trying to get as much time as he can throughout that bus stop.
He's going to use those rumble strips a little bit to help get the car settled there. Going into second to last, the only left-hander on the speedway, besides maybe the exit of the bus stop. And going out here, he's going to try to straighten that truck out as much as he can here. And then across the line he comes.
I do want to try to, ride on board with now our first place driver of James McRae, as I kind of want to show you guys how close he gets to that blue wall, as well as, there's not a huge difference between both McKellar and McRae, but there's definitely, you can see really the strategy wise and how close the driving lines really are. So it's very very unique how this track kind of plays out with these truck drivers, and it's really fascinating to watch at a track just like this. We are approaching near 10 laps to go, within the next couple 2-3 laps. So very interesting how this race is. We've seen it green flag all the way, and we're coming to an end very quickly here. James McRae, though, dominant race car driver out on track. So very cool. But our top 5 position, or our driver in 5th, Brendan Honeycutt, now pulling away from Ira Colas, who kind of was near him just a tiny bit. But Brendan Honeycutt pulling away ever so slightly now, trying to catch Leroy Coblentz for that 4th position, who's only 2-3 seconds in front of him. I think Brandon can definitely get up to him in time. It's going to be close, though, because Leroy does have the lap car of Joe Hudson, who is in front of him. Joe Hudson, heavy front-end damage. I don't know if we saw that or missed that in that 43 machine. 49 machine. My apologies. But Joe Hudson extremely loose throughout the final corner, but keeps a hold of that truck. Great save by him. But he is a lap down in that 10th position. But he is going to have the 4th place driver of Leroy Coblentz come up behind him. And it might slow down Leroy just enough for Brendan Honeycutt to get up to him. Definitely going to be interesting. You see, these drivers throughout the S's, you want to get as close to those curbings, those curves as close as you really can throughout those S's to be fast. But you also, a lot of drivers or a lot of people think it's full throttle there throughout those S's, but it's not. You got to let off, a lot, and even sometimes use a little bit of the brake. So very, very interesting watching those drivers go through the S's there.
Yeah, this is very. I feel like it's one of the more fun parts to watch because I mean it's just so it takes that just fidelity of doing it right. I mean, there's definitely a wrong way to race any track, but it definitely takes a very talented driver to figure out how to run those S's and be fast in there. I mean, it's something it took me a long time to figure out how to be quick down there in the S's, and it's definitely probably in my opinion, besides that bus stop, probably one of the most fun parts of the track here, personally, as coming from a driver aspect. But yeah, I mean, it definitely takes a lot of cojones to push that truck to the limit here in those S's.
James McRae still has a second, sorry, not a second, a 6-second lead on that William McKellar driver. And we are now 10 laps to go. So very, very interesting. I still don't think William McKellar has the speed to catch up unless James McRae makes a mistake. Um, but I would not count William McKellar out of it just yet.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be just McKinley's better on the older tires, but we saw this last run where McKellar actually got faster as the run went on, comparatively towards McRae, right? McRae running a 14.45 versus McKellar's 14.41. So, I mean 14.1. So I think maybe for some people the car just kind of it takes a good 10, 15 laps for the car to hook up and to get the grip that they want here. And maybe that's the case for McKellar here, but you see him just a little bit quicker here and there than the 7. But once again, I definitely think that McRae just kind of on you know get to the finish mode, not try to gap the field mode, because obviously he's got a 6-second gap here. He just needs the walk it home once again, and then just try to keep the truck as clean as he can.
Both the 75 and the 7 have really close, driving lines, like very similar driving lines. But one thing I have noticed is the 75, after the bus stop, that long right-hander does take a wider exit than James McRae in that 7 machine. So I don't know if maybe either he's gaining time there or maybe he can, might be losing some time there. So it is definitely interesting watching how wide William McKellar gets there. Um, after the bus stop.
Yeah, you saw him get a little upset there through the S's there, and yeah, I mean it's always fun to go back and watch, especially as a competitor, to see, oh, what is this guy doing that's different than I am, and what can I do to maybe change my game up to make myself better, or what am I doing that's better than these other drivers, so you can continue to work on that craft there, and that's just something that you did a good job of diagnosing there. McKellar just taking some of these corners a little bit differently than McKellar is, and maybe that is the difference why McKellar's continued to run as quick as he can, and in the same way why McRae has been leading this whole race. So just different lines. There's a huge bobble by the 75.
As you now see that battle for the 4th position, Brandon Honeycutt has been able to catch up to Leroy Coblentz, as they're really a car length separate in the bus stop, but Brandon Honeycutt gets really loose in the bus stop, loses a couple tenths there, but Brandon Honeycutt, definitely the faster driver in this battle at the moment, definitely has the speed to pass Leroy, but he has to find the right time, like we said, as he does get loose again. Like we said, if you're faster, you have to find the right time. You don't want to make the move at the wrong time, because that can both mess you up and possibly mess or wreck. It could wreck you or possibly wreck you and Leroy.
Yeah, that's the thing though, is that the 13, it looks like he's got the speed to catch Leroy, but he does have that 29 behind him. We were just riding on board with them of Ira Koolhaas trying to make a move here too. So if that 13 makes a mistake trying to get to Leroy, he's going to have that 29 trying to take advantage of him there and trying to get around him. But right now it looks like Leroy, his pace is starting to drop off a little bit. You're going to see the 49 to Joe Hudson on the outside there, and this is kind of the worst spot for these guys to catch him, but you're going to see them negotiate around that 49 machine.
And that's a huge...
We're still a huge battle here. You see the 13 going to try to cross him over, going down there, into the bus stop.
The 13 put his nose out in front, entering the bus stop, but decided to just think better of it, which I said you got to think smarter. making the move, and he definitely did there. Brandon, definitely faster. We've seen him make a couple mistakes in and there, but I think he does have the speed to definitely make the pass.
Yeah, I really love the patience that this 13 machine has right here. I mean, as you said, Gavin does have the pace, but he's been really patient, not putting Leroy in a spot to kind of give him it, and not really putting him in a spot to maybe wreck each other out. And he's going to try to find a spot to where he can maybe find that little bit of a disadvantage to the 42s. 42
He
gets
makes a
loose.
mistake. The 42 of Leroy Koblenz, very loose on exit, makes a mistake, and now the 13th of Brennan Honeycutt is passing him, successfully passed him. So now Brendan Honeycutt up to that 4th position. As the 42 still having a little bit of trouble, um, but he's definitely, he has to put that behind his bed or in bed head, put that in the back of his head and try not to think of it, and get up to Brendan Honeycutt, or at least try to catch up to that Brendan Honeycutt 13 machine.
Yeah, I think Leroy saw that the 13 was a little bit quicker and said, hey, you caught me. I don't want to fight you for it. You can have it right now. I'll get you back later, potentially. But, Leroy, one of the more consistent. I mean, you don't see a scratch on that truck. You saw him get upset there on the exit there.
Oh,
The
13
13
got a
slowed up.
penalty. Looks
13
like
with the slowdown.
Brendan Honeycutt got a slowdown penalty. We saw him get that position. He lost it. Now he's um, behind Leroy once again, but he does have the speed to make the move again, which he does, and does a crossover on the 42 machine, entering the final couple last corners. The 13 now, Brendan Honeycutt back up front. Man, wow. Brendan Honeycutt, slowdown penalty, and gets the spot right back. Great job by him to kind of collect his thoughts and making up that position once again.
Yeah, I just think that the handling of that 42 has just gone away completely. You just see he can't really be as aggressive into the braking zones. He can't really get out of the gas as hard as some of these other guys. And I just think the handling is just, starting to go away for Leroy, unfortunately. And now he's going to be under fire by this 29 machine of Ira. See if Ira can, put a fight up for this 42.
I do think Ira definitely has the speed to get up to that 42 before this race ends. I think it's definitely possible for Ira to get in that top 5 position, which would be great for him. Great finish for him. But it's definitely going to be a little bit challenging. Like we said, it was kind of a challenge for Brendan Honeycutt to get around Leroy for a second there, and then kind of found the place to do it, and succeeded, as we see Leroy with a big slide. But same with Ira, but Ira kind of carries a little bit more speed out of it. And is kind of separating half a car length between them.
Yeah, I mean, with 5 to go here, going to 4, I mean, there's still plenty of time for this 29 to get around the 42. There's still plenty of time for the 42 if he has something up his sleeve here to get back up to the 13 here. But right now, it seems like, once again, the 42 is trying to limp it home versus the 29 who's trying to be aggressive to get around the 42 for that 5th place spot.
Ira sent it in deep, but kind of overdrove the corner just a little bit and is losing a bunch of time. So not something Ira wanted there. So he lost about half a second, even a second of time behind Leroy. So mistake by Ira late in this race is not something you want to happen. And the driver behind him, Barry Stevens, is not too far. He's in that 78 machine, not too far from Ira. If Ira makes another mistake like that, Barry Stevens can now possibly attack Ira for that 6th position.
Yeah, he has that 49 of Joe Hudson in between the 2 cars there. But yeah, I mean, that just shows right there that being consistent is way more faster than being fast and making a little bit of mistakes here. You saw, we think that 29 is quicker than the 42, but the 42 just hasn't made a mistake. And it's allowed him to stay in front of the 29 here, coming to 3 to go here. He still has another shot to maybe get back up to this 42 machine, but you see Leroy really doing a good job trying to maintain this gap and to keep this P5 spot.
William McKellar dropped the gap between him and James McRae to 4 seconds now. So I don't know if William McKellar's just faster in the late run, or if James McRae might be taking it a little bit easy, trying to keep those tires under control, not make any mistakes. But 3 laps to go here at Watkins Glen, and William McKellar is coming in pretty fast.
Yeah, I
as
mean,
he
it's
does
down.
make a huge mistake. William McKellar does make a little bit of a mistake overdriving that corner and does lose a lot of time in that second position. So William McKellar, another late race mistake.
It just looks like he got a little bit too wide on the exit of one. They had to use that the access road there, but you know it's definitely he's definitely hungry right here. I mean he's gotten it close enough to where he can kind of see a number seven machine, and basically throughout the whole track here, especially down the straights where he can see him, he can see the lead there. He can, I mean, I don't know if he can taste it, but he can at least see the leader in it. I feel like that's a great motivator, is at least get up to there to where you could see that number seven machine and try to go run him down here with coming two to go here.
Now, William McKellar has the speed. I just don't know if he has the time. If there was like 5 laps left, even maybe 10, I think William McKellar can definitely get up to James McRae. But with now 2 laps to go at the line, it's going to be really close. But James McRae is catching up to a lap car, Russell Martin, which I would think with 2 laps to go, and he might even get up to Russell on the white flag. I think Russell would let him by, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what Russell does decide to do. I think Russell is the type of guy though that just let him by no problem.
Oh, huge off for
Huge,
McRae was
yeah,
once again, and I
big
think that
mistake
might,
by
yeah,
McKellar.
that might be the seal in the coffin for that number 75 to get there. Without a mistake from him, from McRae getting around, not only in Ross right there, but there's another
Damn
lap truck in front of
collapse.
him there of Sam Kohlhaas in the number 28 machine. So without a mistake from the seven getting around these guys, or maybe getting put in a bad spot from these lap cars, I mean they're pretty tightly packed together here. That might be the nail in the coffin for that number 75 machine. Obviously, race not over yet. Things can still happen, even on the white flag here. But you can tell McKellar's definitely doing everything he could to get back up there.
It is not over till the checkered flag is what you got to think of. William McKellar should not give up just yet, as you see the 91 of Russell Martin. Let McRae by no problem. Um, Ira Colas, or not Ira Colas, Sam Colas, I think would do the same thing. But James McRae, white flag here at Watkins Glen as he takes it with a 4-second lead on the second place driver of William McKellar. So great job um, extending that gap. Now a 5-second lead. James McRae still extending that gap quite a bit now, but coming into the S's one final time for James McRae.
And he's a negotiator around this. Honestly, I don't even think he needs to. I think if he wants to, he can just honestly just sit behind this 28 car. I feel like he's still got a decent enough gap to where he doesn't even need to worry about fighting to get around him, putting himself in the spot to potentially get wrecked here. If he just wants to sit behind here, I feel like he's got the gap to do it here. As McRae's starting to catch here a little bit, though, I don't know. You're going to see the 20 let him go here. He just needs to round out this last half of the lap here. I think he's
Yeah,
got it here.
yeah, just these last couple corners for James McRae, and he gets it done here at Watkins Glen. Was a dominant driver throughout this race, had great pit strategy, had that great pit stop, gained a lot of time there, but here it is, James McRae for the final time at the final corner onto the front stretch. James McRae will be our winner here at Watkins Glen. A dominant performance. Great job for that 7 machine. Man, dominant performance, that's how you do it right there for the James McRae driver.
Yeah, let 48, 47 of the 48, my apologies, 48 of those 55 laps there. So once he took that lead in the early parts of that race, literally never gave it up. So I mean that's the textbook definition of a dominating win here, especially at a road course. And I mean, hats off to McRae. I mean, he took that lead, never gave it back, and it really showed that he was the guy to beat here after going.
Ira Colas wants that top 5 position, but with these last couple corners, I don't think he's going to get there in time. As Leroy's right in front of him now coming to the final corner, Ira Colas trying to do everything he can to get that top 5 position, but just won't have the speed and will not have the time to do it. So Ira Colas will finish in that 6th position with Leroy in front of him in 5th. So close for Ira. We know he wanted that top 5 position even after he was running that top 5 and made that mistake in the middle of the race. But here comes James McRae onto the front stretch, getting ready to burn it down in front of all the fans in the stands and all the fans watching live. So James McRae, like I said, dominant performance as he's going to burn it down and take that truck down to victory lane. Man, that's how you get it done. Um, Definitely in that Toyota Tundra machine. So
Well,
great
we don't.
performance by him.
Yeah, great performance by him. We don't see him bring it down, but we do see that 49 bring it down here for McRae, I guess. I know McRae's a big advocate of, he doesn't really like to, do burnouts. I mean, and it's respectful, it's respectable. Maybe he's going to do it now as I
Is
say that.
down.
Maybe listen to the broadcast, but yeah, he's going to burn it down here right across the start finish line here. Maybe waiting on Joe Hudson to, give him, the space to, show off some donut skills here. But you see
Burning
McRae doing a doing a couple little spinners there, burning it down here. But with that, let's go ahead and take a look at your unofficial results here, presented by High Velocity TV.
All right. Well,
So,
I will.
so James McRae, your winner here, with the McKellar, making a late race charge back here, and that P2 spot, only 3 seconds behind your winner here of McRae here. He's going to finish in that P2 spot. Lane Phillips in the third position. Brandon Honeycutt P4. Leroy Koblitz P5 with Ira Kohlhaas running out the P6 spot. Barry Stevens P7. Gerald Livingston P8. Cody DeForge P9, and Joe Hudson's going to round out that top 10.
In 11th, finishing 11th. Great job by him. Was so close to getting in the top 10. Sam Kohlhaas, we saw him going a lap down those last couple laps, or going another lap down those last couple laps. Behind him, Russell Martin. Great job by him in that 12th position. Behind him, Ty Dickinson in 13th, and Bryce Dickinson in 14th. Um, and rounding out the top 15 is Michael Wingo, who we saw make a couple mistakes throughout the race, and also ended his race in a hard crash into that inside wall out of turn one. But he will finish 15th. Behind him in 16th, Brandon Filippo, and behind him, our last place finisher in 17th is John Fowler. So close for William McKellar. Had the speed towards the end and just couldn't get there in time. James McRae, dominant performance. Great job by him getting the win as we are going to get ready to interview our top three finishers here at Watkins Glen, starting with Lane Phillips as we are going to bring him into the booth now. Lane Phillips, it's Gavin and Christian in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, you finished third there. You got pole and led a couple laps towards the beginning of the race, and we saw the seven make a pass past you. And you were one of the faster trucks out there. We saw you make that mistake in the bus stop. You want to walk us through the race?
I think I made 2 or 3 mistakes. Y'all probably just have the camera on me. I think I spun out 2 more times after that. Yeah, I'm good. I can qualify here pretty decently because I spend more time focusing on fast lap for qualifying. Just get track position than I do race pace. And I knew wasn't gonna have anything for James if he got going. I was just trying to get a little bit ahead of him, but he caught me. I kind of just let him go because I wasn't gonna fight it. I think I had something for William, but I lost it in the bus stop right there. So there was or tunnel turn, whatever you want to call it, and that's what happened, man. It was just to hold on after that and try to keep the car behind us further as back as you could.
Well, definitely, qualifying on the pole, you did a great job at trying to, keep that seven in front of you. We saw how dominant that truck was, but you know, mistakes are very easy here at the Glen, and unfortunately, we saw it, not only once, but those couple times you mentioned. But you can't complain about a P3 spot. I think that will still continue to at least help you keep that points lead here in the truck series. So at least that's something you can look up forward to. But looking forward to next week, if we can find your race schedule here.
I'm not sure where it's at. I haven't really
Yeah,
checked.
well, I'm trying to grab it as well here.
Oh, it's Bristol.
Bristol, yeah. So what is your mindset going into Bristol here? I mean, this is the end of the regular season, so I think that will make you our regular season champion.
That's what I
With
was. That's what I was kind of hoping for coming in. I was hoping to get glad to qualify Paul, lead some laps, and at least make my lead a little bit better on William. Bristol. I'm gonna have to test. I'm normally pretty decent there. I know when the cup cars went there the first time, I was running third before I got in a car with somebody else's wreck. But I like short tracks and it fits my style, so we'll figure it out once we get there. But who knows what's gonna happen? But yeah, I'm just glad to get out of here. Maybe I'm sure I'm the regular season champion, which I'm good for that. So yeah, I'm ready for Bristol.
Yeah, definitely getting those bonus points is going to help you propel you further into the end of the playoffs with those extra 15 bonus points. But before we let you go, anybody want to thank any sponsors, any friends or family watching at home?
Yeah, complete motorsports. John Fowler, all those guys over there. Cody DeForge at Race City Memorabilia. Papa Mike's Promotions. That's Bryce and Ty Dixon's father, and Bryce and Ty also for all the hell they do on their side.
Well,
Well,
definitely
great.
good performance for you here and at the Glen here. Like I said, yeah, just brought it home after that mistake, but hopefully we can talk to you back up here, maybe in Victory Lane next week at Bristol.
I hope so.
All right. Have a good rest of the night.
Thank you, man.
That was Lane Phillips, our third place finisher, podium finish. Can't be too mad at that. Great job by him. We are now going to bring in our second place driver of William McKellar in that 75 Chevrolet machine. William McKellar, it's Gavin and Christian in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you. You got me?
Yeah, we do. Well, congrats on that second place finish here at Watkins Glen. We saw you were really fast. You know, you were up there with James throughout pretty much almost the entire race, and you were catching him there at the end ever so slightly. We saw you make, a couple mistakes, but very few mistakes. You were one of the, um, most best drivers out there on the track tonight. You want to walk us through how that race went?
Patiently. That race went patiently, and every time you saw me get squirrely or, almost wreck that thing, that was me not being patient, having to, slap myself on the back of the hand saying, "Calm down, dude. It's 55 laps with a lot of right turns and you don't do this all that often." So it was a lot of, especially on that second stint, it was just a lot of slowing down and just taking my time and working my way through. And I think if I hadn't been 7 seconds behind going into the pits, I might have had something because I was reeling the leader in there those last 15 laps. But he James had James had everything, and I man to beat tonight.
Oh yeah, you definitely had the pace there, and I definitely agree. If you didn't have such a deficit going into the pits there, I think you might have had a shot at them. We saw you close that gap down from what 7 to almost a little under 4 to 3 seconds here. So um, we definitely saw that. I felt like you even on that first one, you had a little bit of more pace at the end there compared to McRae. I don't know if that was him just trying to manage the gap or not, but you definitely found that late race speed compared to your race winner here. But yeah, going going into next week, end of the regular season, I think you should be P2 in the standings with Lane having a good finish here, so you will get some bonus points for being that P2 in the regular season. But going into the playoffs in Bristol, what is your mindset coming into the playoffs here?
I want to win. That's my entire mindset. Um, I have, I mean, I won the All Star race. The All Star race doesn't count, So when I look at that column in the points wins, I see Lane Phillips has 2, Joe Hudson has 4, and there's a big fat 0 right next to my name. I want to win, um, and with the way the playoffs are, you win and you advance. So my goal is to win at least one race in every round of the playoffs. I don't know that I will, but we're going to Bristol. I love Bristol. Bristol is one of my favorite tracks in real life. It's one of my favorite tracks on the service. And man, it'd be fantastic if I could pick up my first win in the trucks at the last Great Coliseum.
Well, once again, yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see you racing here in the playoffs. Congrats on the podium finish in the second place. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank? Any sponsors, friends, family, teammates?
Well, I want to thank my wife first and foremost for letting me do this. Go ahead and thank Russell Martin Jr. He and I are racing together there as teammates. Picked each other up as teammates sort of halfway through the season. So he's been an absolute blast to run with. He's an awful lot of fun to talk to, and just listening to him, talk about how much he does or doesn't like a track, man, it really keeps you grounded because it lets you know, however bad or good you're doing, you've got someone to go ahead and let you know that it could be better or it could be worse. I want to thank all our admins. Ron Lucy does a fantastic job adminning this. Want to thank you guys for going ahead and putting this broadcast out there, so all of us can go back and look and maybe review the race a little bit with your commentary, because sometimes y'all pick up stuff that we don't, especially since we're on the track. And man, I don't know how Lane Phillips was 33 seconds behind me, but he was, and I want to go back on the broadcast and figure out, well, what was he doing so that I don't do that. And then most of all, I want to thank God himself.
Well, definitely a great finish for you, and yeah, I definitely think that's a good tool that you can use as a broadcast to go back and study and get ready for next week and for next for next season if we go back to the Glen here. But yeah, once again, congrats on a P2 finish. But hopefully we can come back and talk to you in victory lane, like you said, you like at Bristol. But besides that, we're gonna go ahead and let you go, celebrate with friends and family, and once again, hopefully we'll talk to you next week.
Yep, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
That
That was your
was William McKellar, our second place finisher, here at Watkins Glen, as we are gonna bring in our race winner, James McRae. Dominant performance by him. Great job, James McRae. It's Gavin and Christian in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
It's great. It was great seeing you race. One heck of a performance there. You were you're running great. We didn't see you really make any mistakes throughout that entire race. You're very consistent. Definitely the guy to beat. You want to walk us through that race from your angle?
Uh, yeah, just trying to stay stay cool, stay focused. Uh, so yeah, so that way I wouldn't make a mistake. Cause usually I do. Uh, so I knew William was right there. So if I did, it was he was there to capitalize. So yeah, just trying to stay calm and focused and hit the marks. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, walk us through those last couple laps. You kind of caught those lap traffic there, and what was going through your mind? Like, did you feel like you needed to be aggressive to get around them, or were you comfortable kind of just sitting behind those guys if you needed to get to the finisher without putting yourself in potential danger? Get caught up in something unnecessarily here. Were you wanting to you know, get around there as quick as you could, or were you fine just kind of sitting behind there, just trying to run the race out?
Yeah, either or, whichever came. The main thing was not to get, caught up in anything. So I didn't want to push them or, what have you, and you know, didn't want any unnecessary aggression. So I knew I had a little gap, so I had a little time to play with. So I wasn't too worried in those final laps there. Just trying to make it home without without any without messing up.
Well, looking into next week, we have Bristol and the start of the playoffs at that. What's your mindset going into the playoffs? What's your mindset, going into Bristol? One of the last great Coliseum on one of the more hectic tracks when it comes to iRacing.
Yeah, I'm usually not too good at Bristol, but somehow managed to find my way at the end. So it's much like here. I guess it's the same everywhere. Try to minimize mistakes and keep as clean as possible, and just survive. Be there at the end.
Well,
Oh
once
yes.
again, congrats on your win here at Watkins Glen. Yeah, once again, what a dominant performance. I gotta say, it's great watching you race every week. Definitely at a road course like this, going into the S's and even the bus stop, just seeing your line is so fascinating, and I want to give props to you for racing so well here tonight.
Thank you. It was a blast.
Well, before we let you go, James, anybody you want to shout out, thank for this one tonight? Any friends, family, sponsors, anybody watching at home?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to thank the sponsors, Sweet Tea Gang, and you guys, HVTV, putting it on. Can't wait to go back and watch it. Uh, yeah. Other than that, just my mom out there watching, and anyone else watching. Subscribe, y'all. Give these guys some love.
Well, we definitely appreciate the kind words, but we're gonna go ahead and drag you up to your team so you can go celebrate with friends and family or whatever, whoever you need to be. But hopefully we can come back here. Talked about Bristol not being your favorite track, but maybe we can see you back up here, maybe in a podium position, and talk to you next week.
That was he. I hope
Yep.
so.
Yep. You have a great rest of the night.
You too. Take care.
All right. Yep.
Man, what a heck of a performance by James McRae, man, getting it done here at Watkins Glen. Like Christian said, I believe, what was it, 47, 48 laps he led?
Yeah, I think he goes 48 of that 55 he led. So I mean, he utter dominance once again here. But yeah, I mean, there's not really any way you can kind of put that. I mean, he came out here, walked it off, and really showed that he was the guy to beat. No mistakes made. Really, I mean, managed lap traffic phenomenally, and did what he needed to do to uh, come out here on top here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, it's great job by him, man.
But besides that, once again, just like last night, we did not get a chance to share our good friends over at Scary Stroke. So we will be ending off the stream with a little ad by them. But besides that, we're gonna go and wrap up the stream here. Once again, my name is Christian Delgado, your lead commentator here, and once again we had Gavin in the booth. But and have to give a huge shout out to Carter Kingsley once again stepping in last second to take care of that. Unfortunately, main producer's internet has been very unreliable lately. But besides that, I'm gonna hand it off to Gavin to say some last remarks, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap up your guys' stream for tonight.
I want to thank everyone for watching tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a heck of a show, definitely from James McRae, William McKellar, and even Lane Phillips. I want to thank Christian. Thank you for having me here in the booth once again. Thank you, Carter, for being our producer, just like Christian said. Make sure you guys all like the stream and subscribe, because you don't want to miss any other streams we do. And we appreciate you guys very much. Thank you so much for having me once again. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, great rest of your night, and hope you enjoyed the show.
And once again, guys, just Peter Gavin summed it up very well there. Just hope everybody has a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll be back on most likely this Saturday for the Universal Cup Series for their league. But besides that, guys, hope everybody has a great Wednesday night. And you've been watching the SSR Sweet Tea Gang Truck Series on HVTV. So enjoy our little break from our guys over at Scary Strokes, and we'll see you guys later. Hope everybody has a great night, and good night, everybody.
Welcome to Scary Strokes, where fun meets fright, where every experience transports you to a world of fun. Play 18 holes of blacklight mini-golf in ancient Egypt, a haunted house, and beyond the grave. Step inside our virtual reality arena, where you take control of video games and virtual worlds. Battle robots, shoot zombies, and compete against your friends. Throw your next birthday with our VIP party pack. Our party pros are ready to entertain you with a fright fest you'll never forget. Perfect for an action-packed date night full of flirty fun. Our state-of-the-art arcade has the latest games with the coolest prizes. Be sure to feast on some tasty morsels in the Graveyard Grill. So come on, bring your ghoulish gang over to Scary Strokes, where every experience matters.